Tenjinki. The story of the Tenjinki is not originally from Kanagawa. Though I can't recall the exact location, it's about a village in the Tohoku region. In that village, when children misbehave, adults warn them, "You'll have to cross the bridge of the Tenjin." The Tenjin Bridge is a suspension bridge located not far from the village, and crossing it is considered a taboo. However, there is one day each year when the villagers are allowed to cross it. On the day of the Gyakurei Matsuri, Reverse Spirit Festival. This festival is similar to the Obon festival we all know, a day to celebrate the return of the spirits of the deceased. During this festival, a ritual called Ikebune, sacrifice, is also conducted to honor the spirits of the dead. Children aged 8 to 12 are chosen as sacrifices. The selected child is taken by the village elders and made to cross the bridge. They are then left at the shrine. The next day, the Ikebune is brought back to the village in a coffin-like container. When they return, the coffin is never opened. The child is buried as is. One year, on the night of the festival, a man secretly crossed the Tenjin Bridge. He had lost his son during the previous year's festival. His son had been chosen as the Ikebune. The man wanted to know what had happened to his son. Thus, he crossed the bridge, which was forbidden by the village. After crossing, he ventured into the forest for about an hour, following what was said to be the path to the shrine. As he arrived, he saw the shrine, with lanterns lit in the darkness, illuminating the area enough for him to make out the scene. But no one was there. The man headed towards the shrine, thinking that the Ikebune would be there. However, he had to hide behind a nearby tree when he heard footsteps approaching. The sounds came from behind the shrine, which was backed by a deep forest. There was no one living beyond the shrine. It was all too familiar to the villagers. Yet, the source of the footsteps revealed itself. From behind the shrine, a group of several raggedly dressed people emerged, perhaps 10 in total. There were men, women, young and old among them, but there were no children. They gathered in front of the shrine, seemingly counting to see if everyone was present. Eventually, they formed a line and entered the shrine. Before long, the sounds of a child screaming, struggling, and other strange noises echoed from inside. The man peeked inside the shrine. He saw a few of those people holding down the boy who had been chosen as the Ikebune, while others were on top of him, doing something. The boy, who had been screaming moments earlier, was now silent and no longer struggling. From afar, he could hear the sounds of festival music from the village, but everything else was eerily quiet. The only sounds coming from inside the shrine were the gruesome noises of gobbling and squelching. The man understood what was happening. These people were eating the boy alive. He couldn't fathom why the village was offering the boy as a sacrifice to these people. Were they mountain dwellers? Or were they demonic beings disguised as humans? That night, the man trembled in the shadows of the tree. At dawn, he watched as they departed, waiting until enough time had passed before heading to the shrine. Inside, he found only the remains of the boy, barely recognizable and nearly just bones, along with a pool of blood. This story comes from my father, who heard it from a colleague at work. That colleague was the protagonist of this story. After that, he left the village and moved to Kanagawa. There is also a postscript to this tale. The man came to Kanagawa about 30 years ago. That year, there were numerous reports of missing children in Kanagawa. This was documented in newspapers at the time, so it's true. Many of these child abduction cases went cold. Some were eventually found dead, but the gruesomeness of the corpses led to them not being reported. The bodies were reportedly found with bite marks all over them, as if they had been eaten alive. The police even came to speak with my father's colleague. He said, "I was found by them. They followed me all the way to Kanagawa. This is the Tenjin story as I know it.